mind, we are not free men and women. We have been we've allowed ourselves to be subjugated, and mostly by uh, government agents and agencies that dangle shiny little trinkets in front of us and make promises, and we give up who we are in exchange for those benefits and those handouts. So we, the people, have to take a long look at ourselves in the mirror and start getting ourselves right in our thinking, our motives, our understanding, and then work out from there.
Well,
So the government didn't take anything from us that we didn't voluntarily hand over. So
I agree from you. I agree with you, and I've done shows before. We don't have to get down this and get on this issue, but even what the people don't understand is they volunteer for their own servitude. And I've had tax experts on this show numerous times. When you sit down at your very first job, let's say you work at the McDonald's, the first job at the McDonald's, or I don't know, delivering papers, and you got to sit down and fill out your tax forms. Once you sign that form, you voluntarily put yourself in. You're not born in the tax system, folks. You're not born into it, right? Not yet, but in the sense of the IRS tax system. But if you decide not to participate, it's a voluntary system, and you volunteer yourself in when you sign off on that to be included, not knowing that that's going to take 30% of your income for the next 75 years. Steve, what you say is so true. We can stop all that too. We can stop all that, all these contracts that we've been put in, right? All lost contract law. Some of these contracts we've been unknowingly been put under these contracts, and that's deception, and that can't continue. I mean, I know that's kind of deep of what we're probably a little bit more than what you want to talk about today, but generally speaking, we really have to take back who we really are away from those that have taken it from us. You want to, you see what I'm saying? I don't want to go too deep into it, but you had any comment on that?
well, absolutely, Jim. We've been trained to put the shackles on ourselves, and then we grow up with them, and we learn to love our chains. Um, Tactical civics is a way to learn a new way of life, a new way of being an American, and what it means to be an American. And mostly it starts with stepping up to do your duty to begin with. For example, look around what most people are complaining about. It's the federal government. In the early days of a republic, it was intended that the federal government wouldn't touch anybody's life hardly. Now people do get involved in their state government, but most of what you see complained about is federal government intrusion and abuses. We have to think in terms of retraining ourselves in the way we think and how we know what it means to be an American, and then help our neighbors understand that as much as we can as well, and our families. This is a long-term project.
Well, tell me about this. I noticed this here. I'm on here on your page here. The 7-week crash course teaches you the new way of life called Tactical Civics, the responsibilities of citizenship for repentant, responsible Americans. Tell us what kind of things are people going to be finding out in the 7-week course, Steve, the 7-week crash course, constitutional based stuff, I'm sure.
Well, if you go on our website, you can download in PDF format any of the books that we have. Trying to remember the title of the one you're referring to as a 7-week crash course.
It says it's book 2. It says it's book 2 is what it says on there. 7-week crash course, book 2.
Yeah. Well, you're going to learn quite a few things. You're going to learn how our federal structure came about, and you're going to learn how unique it is in world history. That we, the people, put government under us. That had never happened before. And that's what makes America so unique, is we, the people, don't have a king or a master. The government is not over us. We are not subjects. We are the sovereigns. The first words of our Constitution start with "we the people." That's who is in charge. So you're going to learn that. You're going to learn how to start living in that reality. Start changing our mindset and being careful of the words we use, because the words we use train us in how we think. And then you're going to start learning how that federal structure, with its delegation of authority, its checks and balances, and so on, its layered federal, state, and county sovereign, and how our sovereignty works through those levels of government that are currently upside down. And then you're going to learn how to go about turning those right side up.
You know, I'm sure you're probably, I'm going to take a guess here. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to on a limb. I'm betting you're not George Soros funded or funded by the military-industrial complex. So, folks, it's important to support the Tactical Civics team over there, and you can do so by going to the Tactical Civics website there and clicking on Shop, and that'll take you to this website here where you can get a lot of cool stuff. The door magnets, T-shirts, bumper stickers, hats, mugs, all that stuff you can get here on Tactical Civics. And again, folks, Steve, the folks need to support. You know, here's what I like to say, right? So if you're not going to be out there on the ground, boots on the ground, sort of doing this stuff yourself, and you don't have time to do it, support those that do. Support groups like Tactical Civics. Support organizations like Montana Daily Gazette or the Montana Gazette Radio that are out there sort of doing the heavy lifting. And I'm not trying to complain when I say that. Everybody can't do it. People, the economy still has to work. Everybody can't be a dopey radio show host. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I understand this, but at least support the people that do, myself, Steve, and there's a lot of great groups. I mean, I've had Ammon Bundy on the show before. He's running for governor in Idaho. You may not agree with him, but he's not establishment. I mean, he's something. I think Ammon's a good guy. I know him well. That type of stuff. I mean, I give him credit for even trying, for crying out loud. I mean, if we all just stepped up, again, like I said on the show yesterday, folks, you're not going to succeed at these things. As a matter of fact, you're probably going to fail at a lot of them. But that's okay. There's wisdom in those failures, because then other people can learn from your mistakes, and they won't waste time going down that same road again. So the fact is, you just have to put yourself out there and be in the arena. And that's, I think, a lot of times, man, that is a very good first step anyway. Steve, you care to comment on it?
Well, yeah, that's a good point, Jim. One of the troubles I think we have that we're in is we're being trained almost to think that being a Facebook warrior and complaining about things and continue to spread, the news about what our criminal servant has done today, we're being tricked into thinking that is somehow helping fix things. It may get the word out, but it fixes nothing. If we've got a burglar loose in our community, and sure, I can warn my neighbors that there's a burglar loose, and I can tell and describe the homes that he's broken into and the things he's taken, but that doesn't solve the problem, does it? What's going to solve the problem is when law enforcement apprehends the burglar and brings him in, brings the suspected burglar before a court for a trial, and then the punishment that follows. That's what stops law breaking. Me telling my neighbors about it might alert them that there's a burglar around, but it doesn't do anything to impede the progress of this burglar. So that's what we've got in our culture is the tendency to think that dialing in and having my ear tuned to the news media for the next criminal act of our public servants is somehow getting us closer to a solution. It's not. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. Our federal servants, especially, and many, as you mentioned, on the state and the judiciary and other places, have committed enough crimes, to be brought in, to be indicted, to be arrested, brought before the bar of justice, and tried and punished. There's enough criminal behavior just in the last year or two to clean things up. If we were to pursue even a small portion of that, so let's stop focusing on the next criminal act that these guys are doing, and build our county grand juries and militias, and learn the process of bringing them to justice. Our Constitution declares in it that it is the supreme law of the land. And if it's a law of the land and it's the supreme law of the land, our servants shouldn't be violating it with impunity. And we can't, all we think we can do is wait till the next election and replace one criminal for a brand new one. That's not fixing the problem. So we're making great progress, Jim. This tactical civics plan was rolled out about 6, 8, 10 months ago, and Montana, I'm happy to say, is leading the other states. I just received an update on how we're doing from our tactical civics headquarters, and out of the top 15 counties in the United States, active counties, 5 of them are in Montana. So I'm happy to report that. In January, when we got started, we had 644 members across our country. Today we have over 2,000 that are joining. They're joining. Yeah, and as far as the support, the financial support, this is a wholly voluntary effort, and it's county based. There's not a top down hierarchy organization. This is being run by good men and women who are stepping up and saying, yeah, I want to be a part of the solution. This is the solution to the problem. Everything else is,
Steve, let's take a quick commercial break. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we come back on the other side here. What we're going to do is we'll go into that. I want to go into the steps necessary for someone to get involved in tactical civics. Because you may say, well, I'm only one person, but that is that's what everybody's got to start somewhere. It's like the old thing, Steve, and this is way back in my younger days. But if you go out to a dance club and the dance floor is empty until someone gets out there and they get on a dance floor and they start dancing around, the next thing you know, 4 or 5 minutes later, the thing's packed because they see somebody out there, doing something, and then that gives everybody else a little bit of a spine, and they go out and start doing something. So we're going to talk about that when we get back on their side. Tacticalcivics.com. Tacticalcivics.com. I imagine, Steve, before we go to break, you probably have a Facebook page and other social media, or maybe you don't. Any other places that people can find out more about yours? Tacticalcivics.com, like the main site.
Will do.
That'll do. Tacticalcivics.com.
Yep.
Excellent. All right, we're going to go ahead and throw your microphone on mute. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to pick it back up with Steve Wagner from Tactical Civics, and we're going to talk about how you can become involved. Folks, I've been to a lot of these meetings and around Flathead Valley, and there can be 200 or 300 people there, and the same 12 people are the ones doing the work before the next meeting, and then another 500 people sit on their hands and do nothing. So that we can't win a country back that way. We have to act. And if you want to support us, you can go to MontanaGazetteRadio.com, MontanaGazetteRadio.com, or MontanaDailyGazette.com. Now, if you go to MontanaGazetteRadio.com, I just checked. You hit that play button there, you'll get this show live. It is streaming live on the website. So again, if you want to catch this show live from this point forward, unless the creek rises, you go to MontanaGazetteRadio.com, MontanaGazetteRadio.com, and you can see this show live. We'll be back after these brief messages. If you like classic cars, exceptional service, and a money-back guarantee, then the Corner Shop in beautiful downtown Kalispell is the place for you. Whether it's an oil change, engine diagnostic, suspension work, or brakes all around, the Corner Shop has you covered. With expert technicians and a free consultation on all services, you can't go wrong with the Corner Shop. Did I mention the classic cars? While you're waiting for your expert service to be performed, take a stroll through the showroom to see Kalispell's smoothest collection of classic cars. The Corner Shop is conveniently located at 1212 South Main, just south of the courthouse. The Corner Shop is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m., so drop by for an appointment or call 755-7777. That's 755-7777. The Corner Shop, Kalispell's full-service auto repair facility. Hi, this video is brought to you by PatriotPrepared.com, where right now you can save $250 on each large package purchase, plus get free shipping to the continental United States. In these troubled times, it's not a bad idea to have some extra food storage available, and you can save big at Patriot Prepared right now. Go to PatriotPrepared.com, that's PatriotPrepared.com, and use the code TRUMP250 at checkout to receive your savings today. Okay, folks, like I've said before here on the broadcast, hit this right screen here. Like I said before in the broadcast, pretty much quite a bit lately, if you are not prepared or you don't have any storable food, any water filtration products, any products, toiletry products that are designed to get rid of waste, you really probably need to start doing that now before it's too late. As I've said before, being a month too early is way better than being a day too late, because once it's too late, it's too late. So if you want to get some great deals on some storable food and water filtration products and all kinds of other good stuff, you can go to PatriotPrepared.com. That's PatriotPrepared.com. And again, folks, don't get used to all this stuff, because this is all going to be changing here pretty soon. When we go on AM and FM, we're going to have a whole new studio look and all that stuff, much better graphics, and we're really going to put a lot of money into the production. So enjoy this. This will be the crude production for now, and enjoy it while you can, because I think it's going to get, well, I know it is going to get a lot better here soon. So we do appreciate you following us and supporting the program at MontanaGazetteRadio.com. Okay, we're going to welcome our guest, Steve Wagner, back on the show. Let me unmute his microphone. And there you go, Steve. It's asking you to unmute there for me. Thank you, sir. Steve, thanks for hanging on after the break, man. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to come here on the show.
You bet.
Okay, Steve, we have a lot of people out there, I think, that see something's wrong. They know something's wrong. They know that people are rising up. I mean, whatever news coverage they can, scrape out of the corrupt mainstream media and the social media tyrants. They see that people are sort of protesting across the country, and not across the country, but across the world. I think people have that sense of, we realize something's wrong. This whole reversing the CDC, and now you're supposed to be vaccinated. Now you got to get vaccinated again, and now you got to wear a mask after you're vaccinated. That's just the tip of the iceberg of the voluminous amount of corruption that goes on, as you well know. My point being is, people are starting to wake up. People are starting to feel like that we're not putting up with this anymore, but they really a lot of times don't know where to go, don't know how to act, don't know what to do next. I think a lot of people are in that limbo state where they know something's wrong, they know they got to act, but they don't really know exactly what to do. That's where a group like Tactical Civics comes in. Tell us how people can get from that point, Steve, where they just becoming sort of an awareness or taking that red pill, if you can, to maybe even starting their own chapter of Tactical Civics in their town. Over to you.
Well, absolutely. We are living, believe it or not, I think, in the best days of our republic that we've seen in 150 years. People might hear that and say, this guy's asleep or something. What do you mean best days? Well, it's the best days because millions upon millions of people have had their eyes opened that something is seriously wrong with our government system, our culture, the economy, and so on. When you have the federal government, creating several $1 trillion out of thin air and handing it out, to their buddies, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that that's not a good thing. The many other things that have been done have awakened a massive numbers of people, as you said, not just in America, but around the world. There's a new birth and desire for freedom. 30, 40 years ago, I was going around the political scene asking potential candidates if they'd read or studied the constitutions. Hardly anybody had. Nowadays, candidates are handing out constitutions and encouraging their people to read it. Lots of other groups are teaching and training people in our system of law, and that's a good thing. However, knowing about it doesn't fix the problem. That's the problem. So for those that have awakened to what's going on or have been awake to what's going on, it's time to ask ourselves this: what are we going to do about it? Okay, we know what's going on enough. We don't need more information about the crimes that are being committed against us. The big question is what are we going to do about it? What will you do about it? Continue to watch America collapse, be a keyboard warrior, Chicken Little kind of keyboard warrior on Facebook or other social media, and then just watch the collapse, the destruction of the last, remnants of our free society. Complain about it to your friends, be the first guy on the block to spread the latest, crime that's going on, or will you work for a solution? Work the solution. Well, the solution is Tactical Civics. We have a action plan that you can pick up and take in your own county. Just one person. Mention one person. That's how it starts. In Montana, we have several chapters in counties where there are only one or two people, but they are reading the material, studying the material, getting their own self up to speed on what it really means to be an American, and how our American system of law and liberty is supposed to work. And then you just tell your neighbors, there's a lot of people that are looking for some hope. And Tactical Civics is the hopeful development on the scene. It's well planned, well researched. There's been 10, 15 years of research by a couple dozen people from different backgrounds and areas of expertise in law, in our history, put this together. And so it's just a matter of working together with your neighbors and people in your community to put this plan in place and bring this criminal behavior of our servants to an end.
Well, how does tactical civics, if you're talking militia, citizens militia, constitutionally outlined, how does the sheriff fit into that? How does the sheriff fit into that whole equation? In Montana, we're a sheriff first state, meaning that the sheriff is the highest law enforcement officer in each individual county. And folks, when I tell you that if you have a constitutional sheriff, they can literally hold off the entire marshal service or the FBI from coming on your property or in your town. The sheriff has that much power. You see these phony when I used to watch television, these television programs where the FBI rolls up to the county sheriff and says, "Yeah, I'm in charge. You can get out of the way now. We're taking it over from here." That's all fraud. That's all a narrative, a propaganda narrative to put out there so people don't understand that the federal government has nowhere near the amount of rights that your county sheriff has. As a matter of fact, he can arrest them and throw them in jail if they get out of line. Steve, am I exaggerating?
Well, the sheriff is not the highest law enforcement authority in the county.
Well, people are right. I know. I'm saying right. I agree, but
to be more accurate, he's the highest elected. Law enforcement servant in the county. And if you have a good, solid sheriff in your county who understands his authority to protect the citizens' rights against all intrusions, including and especially other government agencies, that's a great blessing, no doubt about it. And those men and women should be held up as examples and backed and kept on duty by we the people. That's a good servant. When you have a good servant, you want to make sure you let them know that you appreciate it and let them know that they can count on you to to have their back. Okay? But a sheriff is a political creature. He runs for office. He has to take politics into consideration. He needs the votes to get elected. Okay, so we the people, we can pursue crime without the handicap of having to worry about the next election. So militia or not, a bunch of knuckle dragging orangutans dressed in camos, with ARs strapped around their shoulders, practicing in the woods. That's not a lawful citizen's militia. The citizen's militia is the responsible remnant in the county that's willing to step up and do their duty to keep the peace of the county. There's lots of duties that a militia has, and the majority of it is not involving guns. So there are some good militia groups. We have some even in Montana that have a very close relationship with their local police and sheriff departments, and sometimes are even called upon to help out in situations. So it's kind of like the posse, the citizens, the sheriff posse. And Tactical Civics has a plan to bring both the militia and the grand jury in recognition through county ordinances, through the county commission, and so that they become recognized by the county commissioners in the law of the county. Now, the politicians don't invent the militia or the grand jury. They don't serve on them. They don't regulate them. These are ancient institutions from 1,000 years back in our common law. But we, the people, naturally fill the place, as you mentioned earlier on. We are the militia, whether we like it or not.
Well, let me
Whether
ask you this, Steve. Let me ask you this: how do you assuage the fears of the of the normie? Let's say. I mean, you
you
think.
keep
Let
them,
me finish. Let me
keep
finish
them
for a second.
pregnant.
Let me finish for a second. Hold on. I think when people hear of militia, they're worried about mob rules or lynch mobs. If you get a bunch of people together in a militia, let's say they don't like, and it doesn't matter either way. Let's say they don't like the Republican or they don't like the Democrat or they, I think people are concerned about the militias forming and then sects of that militia forming together and becoming their own sense of form of justice. We don't want that, right? Everybody's got their own. Each person has individual rights, and we can't trample upon those. How do you answer that question? That one of the fears that people have. We don't want militias roaming around because then there's going to be mob justice and lynch mobs and hangings in the street. Can you answer that, Steve?
Well, one of the things that you learn by studying the materials from tactical civics regarding the militia um, is only lawful when it's carrying out its lawful functions in aiding and assisting the grand jury with legal process or protecting and defending the rights of the people in the county. Um, when they're doing anything other, they're just hoodlums, lawbreakers, and are just as subject to the law as anyone else. So the two go together. The the militias that are functioning now are more like volunteer organizations, like service organizations that let their sheriff or police department know that they're available in a situation where he needs more manpower, more eyes on the street, some assistance in some fashion, whether it be in a search and rescue operation or say there's been a couple of instances where Antifa has come to town intending on causing trouble, and the citizen militia group, that service group, comes alongside the sheriff and police departments to uh, be there to help maintain order and like I say, more eyes on the street. Um, so those things are going on right now. Uh, it's we have to recognize that the lawbreakers do not want us to be doing this.
Well, let me ask you a question, Steve.
They're not gonna change the way they create the narrative about the militia. This boogeyman. They got to have these boogeymen to keep us all feared. We need to wean ourselves from this drug that they use on us, fear, and read and study and walk in the truth. That's the big thing. They're filled with lies, and they're liars, cheaters, and murderers. We don't expect them to to be our friends.
Well, we've had governors now. I mean, you've got the governor there, Abbott, in Texas, which I'm not a huge fan of. Ron DeSantis there in Florida, which I'm a little bit more of a fan of. But they're coming out and they're creating executive orders, which really aren't supposed to apply to the folks anyway, but that's that aside. They're creating executive orders where they're saying no mask mandates. We're not going to do the forced vaccination things. We passed law in the legislature here in Montana about the vaccine passports. How far away are we, Steve, before a governor, a governor of one of the states in America, United States, comes out and says we're going to start sponsoring the West Virginia militia or the Montana militia that is sponsored by the state or by the state government? How long do you think we are away from something like that happen? I know we can form up our own militias, certainly, but I know there's a provision that the state can be involved in that as well. Can you go ahead and address that?
Well, it could happen any day the way things are going. I mean, One of the things that concerns me and concerns others, most of us in tactical civics, is the, the 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 culture has gotten more divided and along some pretty hard lines. And the means of redress are being uh, done away with or severely limited. And that can create a pretty volatile situation in our country. I run into people, you see it on Facebook, I run into them, talk about, hey, I'm ready, lock and load, let's get it on, let's start, that's nonsense. That's immaturity and foolishness and just outright stupidity. So the militia could get called up by the governor any day, actually. I mean, if something crazy happens. So that's not what we're really pushing for. We're not really working towards that. We're working to reestablish the people in the county as their own militia, working together with their own citizens grand jury to investigate. The grand jury's job is to investigate allegations of criminal behavior, and when it finds that there is sufficient evidence that a crime has been committed, to hand down an indictment. The main pool of folks that this grand jury, the citizens grand jury, would be dealing with is criminals in our government. When I say criminals, I'm not talking about people who violate their oath and have absolutely no concern whatsoever that they're breaking the law. Our Constitution is the law of the land. Now, if they're gonna, they don't have any qualms about sending police officers to arrest you when you've broken the law. That street goes both ways. We've not known that, and we haven't developed our own law enforcement mechanisms that we own already and have. We just haven't developed them to the point where we can do anything about it. Those days are over.
Well, we're going to be talking about the citizens grand jury tomorrow on the broadcast. I think that's key. I mean, that's vital. And what you stated earlier, Steve, and I've been trying to get this feed here. I've been hearing you, but I've been trying to get this feed because we're just going over on Rumble here. I'm trying to check into it here. But we're reaching a time, I believe, when even those on the left who held a certain ideology are starting to see the facade, because it's all a fraud. All of the establishment, it's all a fraud. None of it's, the money's printing is all a fraud. All these award ceremonies and all these things, these it's all a fraud. Our whole entire so-called president of the United States. I don't even think I have to go into that. We're at a time here, Steve, where I think that we're at a crossroads where we're not going to have. It's not like, well, we'll do it in 15 years and think, no, we're not going to have 15 years. We got to act today. I mean today. How can people today, Steve, we're coming towards the end of the interview, what can people do today? Go to tacticalcivics.com and join Tactical Civics. What happens when they go there and join Tactical Civics? It's like $5 a month or something, $6 a month. A cup of coffee, folks. For a couple of these lattes, I don't even drink those, but I think that's what they're called. For these cappuccinos, or you can get the Tactical Civics for the whole month. Steve, tell us about how people can join and what happens when they join.
Okay, well, you join, and then you join your county, and you pay dues of $5 a month. You have access to all of the materials. All of the books can be printed off on your printer if you want, or you can order them. But more importantly, you get connected with others in your county, or we show you how to start spreading the good news to those in your county, and developing your own county chapter. And this is kind of a American pick up your shovel and get to work kind of thing. Most Americans, when given a task to do, they can figure out how to get it done. And that's what I'm seeing all over this great state of Montana. We have some people that have picked it up in Lewis and Clark County, or Valley County, Jefferson County, Madison County, others that are just taking it and running with it. The books are very easy. They're not big, thick law books. They're very well written and easy to understand. And we lead you. I mean, it's laid out in a plan. You just follow the plan step by step. So go ahead and do that. If you have any questions, you can call me, and I'll try to answer your questions. My phone is 266-1009, 1009.
That's pretty easy. That's pretty easy number to remember.
It is pretty easy.
Except for you, I guess. I was kidding.
Yeah, or drop me an email at tcmtfirst at gmail.com. That's tcmtfirst at gmail.com. Stands for our goal to be the first ratifier, the modern ratifier of what would have been our First Amendment. We referred to as America's First Right, which is how we're going to deal with the federal government, mostly our Congress, with real representation. And that's a subject for another show, perhaps. The importance of that.
Well, we're going to have you on. We're going to have you on regularly when we switch over to FM, AM, and FM. As I said, we're waiting for. As I said before, we're waiting for the really expensive computer equipment to run everything being delivered here. It could be delivered this week, I hope. But anyway, when we get that going, we're going to have you on fairly regularly here and to give updates. But before we let you go, last question to you. What's coming up with Tactical Civics? Do you have any events coming up? Do you have any speaking engagements? Is there anything, any community events or anything like that you care to share with people?
Well, we're in I'm working with a handful of other folks. We've got an ad campaign going across in some of the northern and eastern counties. That's where our goal is to have a functioning chapter in every county in Montana, hopefully by Thanksgiving. We're about halfway there. I think we've got about 27 of our 56 counties with active chapters. So watch for those in your newspaper. Will be the contact information will be there. Maybe you can use that to start a conversation with a neighbor or someone that you know in your county, and start your county chapter, and or go on. When you get on Tactical Civics and you become a member, you have access to your county. You'll sign into your county, become a member of your county chapter, and that links you together with everyone else in your county if there are. It's kind of your own county social platform where you can talk with each other and make plans and post events.
So the important thing is decentralized. They're not going to be able to take out Steve Wagner and the whole thing's going to come crumbling to the ground. It's all decentralized, and that's by design.
Fortunately, it doesn't rest all on me. Every county is a self-standing, solitary county organization, and of course we help each other out in the counties, and but no, this is like America's supposed to be. One county at a time. That's how we fix it. We're not getting in a hurry. That's one thing we have to realize. We didn't get here overnight.
That's
So we're
right.
not going. There's no silver bullet. It's just pick up your shovel, go to work. Let's dig ourselves out of this. Let's recover who we are, who we were meant to be, and start living our life as free men and women again. And make sure our county and our friends and neighbors in our county and other counties know about uh, how we fix things, because it's going to take a whole bunch of us. But before we leave, Tackle Civics is not a mass movement. It doesn't have to be. We calculate it take about 1% of the population of your county to get this job done. Of course, the more the merrier, but it doesn't take everybody. It doesn't take a majority. It doesn't take politicians. It takes we the people, ordinary mom and pop shop owners, contractors, just ordinary Americans,
TacticalCivics.com, TacticalCivics.com. Steve Wagner from Tactical Civics, and we'll have to speak offline about having maybe you run some ads with this on Montana Daily Gazette. We could get the word out there a little bit more. We'll figure something out. Maybe we can have you run some ads and then get you a regular spot here on the broadcast every couple of weeks for a 15-minute spot or something like that. We could talk offline. Steve, thanks so much for joining us here on the broadcast. I really appreciate you and the work that you're doing there. Again, TacticalCivics.com, folks. TacticalCivics.com. It's right there on the page underneath Steve's name, and it's right there. If you're watching on the video, you can see it right now on the screen. Steve Wagner, thanks so much for joining us. Let's be in touch, and we'll have you back on. We look forward to having you back on many times in the future. Thanks again, my friend.
Sounds good, Jim. Thank you very much.
Steve, always good to see you, brother. Thanks so much. Good to see you. Okay, folks, there goes Steve Wagner. We do appreciate him joining us here in the broadcast. And I have literally got to split out of here right now. This went a little bit over for me. I have other obligations I got to run to. We should be live here on at least Rumble. Looks like the Rumble test worked out pretty good. We will be. I think we're going to be changing time slots here. Not really sure. I thought we were going to be going from 10 to 12 every day. I think that may change. We're trying to coordinate with some other networks to fit some time slots so we can really pretty much get over most all of Montana is what we're hoping to do, and what I think we're on our way to do. So again, this is all transitional. The opening's transitional. Everything you see here is all going to change pretty soon. But in the meantime, please continue to support us at MontanaGazetteRadio.com and MontanaDailyGazette.com. And no matter what changes occur, no matter what what stations we start broadcasting or wherever we live stream, everything, you'll always be able to find everything you need at MontanaGazetteRadio.com. That's MontanaGazetteRadio.com. I'll have the links to all of the different, matter of fact, let's go there right now. We're here now. Go to MontanaGazetteRadio.com. As you can see, before we go, we're going live here right now, and you can see all the different social media locations that we have now. Everything's not going to be uploaded to there specifically right now because we need somebody to do social media for us. But anyway, this is where you're going to find all the information that you need about this show is on MontanaGazetteRadio.com. We appreciate you joining us here today. Again, Montana Daily Gazette, MontanaGazetteRadio.com. And we want to thank our guest, Steve Wagner, for joining us. Check out TacticalCivics.com. Till next time, this is James White from Montana Gazette Radio saying bye now.